So let me. I don't. Do we have double A's?
It's on the reflexes.
Possibly. I think they're in the laundry.
Yeah.
Space.
I will be right back, guys. So you get to talk to all the folks.
Oh, are we live?
We are live.
Bring up
now,
the
yes.
video.
All right, cool. Hey guys, welcome to Retro Rewind, where we're discovering the fact that Francisco does in fact love Monty Python and the Holy Grail, his favorite movie
I am out of here.
of
Good night.
all time.
Goodbye.
Oh yeah.
Some say he likes it better than Princess Bride. Paul, you have thoughts on that?
If he secretly loves it, that's on him. I mean, Princess Bride, on my opinion, is kind of hard to beat.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not beatable, but it's hard to beat.
What could beat the Princess Bride?
Oh, okay. Let's. Do you have a favorite movie of all time, Dallas?
I'm not sure, honestly. I've thought about this a couple of times.
Yeah.
I go
Okay,
through
cool
seasons where there's movies I really enjoy, but I don't know if there's something that's my favorite of all time.
Okay, because I have a top three, and for many a year, Princess Bride was my top #1 of all time.
Oh, wow.
Oh, has
But-
that changed?
Yes.
Ooh.
The original Star Wars is just hard for me to beat.
Oh, really?
Episode 4.
Which cut? Is Han
Um,
shoot first or not?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Han. It's part of the character that the rogue pirate that we all love. You know.
Yeah.
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 I totally get that. I have found I have vague memories of watching it on television, and I found old VHSs and compare it to my Blu-ray collection. It feels very different. I almost prefer the old graininess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Especially
totally.
if you grew up with that, it's hard. I have movies like that as well. Not that one, but there are other ones that I feel the same way. There's such a nostalgic pull because that's what you grew up on.
Mhm.
You're like,
Right?
oh, I prefer that.
It's-
I mean,
It's similar
Yeah.
to when they colorize black and white movies. They just don't look as good. There's something lost
Yeah.
in the upscaling, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I saw a colorized version of Metropolis.
Oh.
Scenes of it, and I was like, it's fascinating, but I feel like you lose it because in black and white, they know it's black and white, so they play to the shadows.
I was about to say you would probably lose a lot of the effects, right?
Yeah, that's the way it felt like. Of course, it felt like it was like watercolored on there also at the same time.
Oh
Plus,
yeah, those are lame.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
it was kind of a weird. Plus, Queen was doing the soundtrack. And that was
Oh no!
Okay. That's one way to go.
Were you watching Flash Gordon?
Well, better.
No, it
Just
wasn't
put
Flash
on-
So nope. I did get to meet him though, and he was a pretty cool guy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was actually in a prayer meeting with him.
No way.
Yeah, I was at a GeekCon. He came up. We were having a prayer meeting of some guys, and he came up and joined us. And he
Is
was yelling.
saved? Is he a brother in Christ?
Yeah, he is. And he was
That's-
upset that Alice Cooper slept in because Alice is a Christian also.
Right.
And he's like, "Where's Alice? Why isn't he here?" And they're like, "Oh, he slept in." He's like, "Oh, that loser."
Oh, that would have been a cool prayer meeting. Have both of them.
So it would seem someone put dead batteries back with the new batteries. And since they all look the same, I'm not sure which ones are which. So I'm going to try
Look
one
at- see what
more
happens.
time.
Everything is bad. I want you to know this.
Thanks.
Ash says she wishes she had her VHS copies of the original trilogy. That would be lit.
Right?
I have the original remastered VHS copies.
Ooh, nice.
Somewhere.
The
I don't know. The reason why I like the
remasters
old
in the 90s ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason why I like the original one better, where it's still kind of that weird grain, but also the technology isn't as shiny, is there's something endearing to the fact they took what they had and to make it futuristic. There's a movie, I forgot what it's called, but basically it's like it takes place in the future, and like they capture a plane from the past and they replace all the passengers with dummies and then send it back to the past to crash.
Oh wow.
And but it has all this like futuristic technology, but they're using like stuff that was like 1989 technology to make it futuristic. It has a vibe to it.
Yeah.
movie
It's
is
hard
that?
to, and that's one of the things that I like to like. They're trying to do like in Andor and Rogue One, and they're trying to bring that old clunky feel to it. Yeah, that lived in. Yeah.
Like it feels like a real space. It's not just
Right.
so. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm
There's
wondering
something CG, that doesn't quite capture the realness yet. I mean, some of it does, like like the Iron Man suit that feels real, for the most part. But some of I agree. Some of the backdrops and the surroundings and
they don't feel real.
Not as real.
There's a texture that's missing. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
If it's not something, it's another.
Ash says that her set was from 1995. Wow.
That's impressive.
They barely still made VHSs then.
What are you talking about, man? I was there for the transition. When I signed up when I started working in Hollywood Video, we were in the middle of the transition from DVD or from VHS to DVD.
Oh,
and I remember it distinctly. It was a weird transition over a year where like new movies would come in and we'd have one slot for like three DVDs, and then we'd have the rest of the row with multiple copies of the VHSs.
Oh wow!
Of that same movie, and over the year you saw it slowly transition to the other way.
Take over. Interesting. I remember my last VHS. My last VHS was Star Wars again, Episode 1, but in the widescreen.
Oh, cool. Okay, I think I'm ready, guys. So sorry about that. As all right, so if you guys are ready to start the actual podcast, thumbs up, please.
No, we're not.
Okay.
Did you start the DAR?
Yes, I started the DAR.
Did you do the 5 seconds of silence?
I haven't done that. Thank you, Paul. All right, so don't mute yourself, Dallas. We're just taking the ambient floor noise. So we'll start that now.
Let's rock this jump!
Or now.
Let's light this dude up! Yeah!
Awesome.
What's bad is I'm watching you on this slide over here on my like the actual live stream, and you were still counting down, and his thing went up. I was like, Paul, what are you doing? Master Interrupter at his best.
Right.
Psych.
Oh my goodness. All right, then here we go. And I'm the opening skit's just me, so I'll go and then we'll get into this. How's this supposed to go?
It's okay, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't know his own script.
No, I forgot what character is this voice is
making
this.
it up as he goes, Paul. We discussed this.
Yeah, there's no script.
Your line is, I am Francisco Ruiz.
I got it, thank you.
Vampire Hunter. So I assume you're D.
No. No, this is Ray Galensi or whatever. This is the guy that can teleport space around him.
Who?
All
right.
Wow.
I may have watched the wrong movie,
did you fall asleep?
But this will be fun.
Did you watch on 2x speed?
This will be fun. Let's see if I watched the right movie or not.
Okay, here we go.
Did you watch Bloodlust or not?
We've covered Bloodlust before, so I'm sure you didn't.
We'll find out.
All right, here we go. I am Francisco Ruiz, Vampire Hunter, and movies about men like you is my greatest pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
Prepared. Wait. Oh, wait. That's supposed to say reviewing movies about men like.
I thought you were trying to be Nego Montoya all of a sudden.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try that again.
Or does running? That's how you feel God's pleasure.
Starting.
What?
I'm starting again. Here we go.
Oh.
I am Francisco Ruiz, Vampire Hunter, and reviewing movies about men like you is my greatest pleasure. Prepare to listen to episode 319 of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Retro systems online. Reflux capacitor fluxing. Scanning movie space-time for Vampire Hunter D, 1985. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. My name is Francisco Ruiz. I'm your captain of the pod, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the vampire hunting, PaulJPowers.com Powers.
My website keeps getting longer and longer. I'm going to have to... I guess I'll have to claim that URL, that domain. Hold on.
Exactly. Get on that. And also for this discussion of the film, which is a patron pick by Dallas. Here we have Dallas from Geek Devotions, our clergy officer. Hey, Dallas.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Hey, Dallas, I know you've probably figured this out, but has anyone ever come up to you and said, if you take your first and last name and switch the first letters, you would be Malice Dora, which is like an evil little explorer girl?
No, but there was this whole thing that like your name spelled backwards is your Jedi name or your Sith Lord name. And so for a while, a couple of students in my youth group would call me Darth Salad.
Wow.
That could also work, right? Rarancisco Fuis.
Wow. Anyway, we now that we have a quick flyby of who we all are, Paul, can you give us the production specs for Vampire Hunter D?
Sure. All right. Van Helsing was
What?
released May 3rd, 2004, and is rated PG-13. Runs 2 hours and 11 minutes. It was directed and written by Steven Sommers, with lead stars being Hugh Jackman, Kate Beckinsale, and Roger Roxburgh. Roxburgh? I don't know, Richard. Pick a name. All right. You ready for the box office trivia?
I am, but you know what, Paul?
What?
We're not covering that movie.
What?
We're covering
About the vampire hunter with the long broad hat and the big overcoat.
Yeah, except the movie's name is not Van Helsing, it's Vampire Hunter D.
All right, let me go back. All right, Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust.
No, Paul, we covered that movie already.
Yeah, I thought like Jared took it, didn't it? That's why we're redoing this.
Good point, but no. This is the original anime
Still there?
from
Okay,
1985.
What? Why are we reviewing that movie?
Because it's
That's
15 years or older.
That's the one you did with the Cellcast without me, right?
No, wait, did we?
No, you did, not me.
I did. Oh, yeah, that's right. I did, yes.
Yeah. So why are we doing this? You can just
Because
listen to that episode.
we have to do it for the rewinders. They may not listen to that.
Oh,
you should.
Oh wait, you said this is Dallas's patron pick, right?
Yes, that is also a reason.
Well, thank you, Dallas, for being a patron. Of course. Let's go back. All right. Let's see. This is Vampire Hunter D, not Bloodlust. It was released December 21st, 1985 in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to wait a long time for the US comparatively. It runs an hour and 20 minutes and is not rated.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed by Toyu Ashida and written by Hideyuki Kikuchi and Yasushi Hirono. Sorry about these names, butchering all these ones, but let's go with some more European names for the lead stars' voices, starting with Michael McConaughey. It sounds like he's trying to take you Matthews' last name. Barbara Goodson, Jeff Winkless. I don't know. You want more Winks, but not Jeff. But Edie Mirren and Kerrigan Mahan. See, I still butcher names. The music
Doesn't
was
matter
composed.
the hemisphere. Paul will butcher your name.
That's right. The music was composed by Tetsuya Komuro. Are you ready for the box office trivia?
I am ready. Dallas, are you ready?
Totally.
All right. And anyone here live in chat? Ashley, Rushmore, anyone else? You guys can join in as well. Go for it, Paul.
All right. Vampire Hunter D. Unfortunately, nobody is releasing any kind of budget information, nor are they releasing any kind of box office information.
Ugh.
Not even when it came out in the US in 1992. So I have a different game in mind, and I'm going to let you decide, okay?
All right.
Okay, so we could either do, according to Crunchyroll's top 10 vampires of all time, which They include, I'll tell you, Vampire Hunter D. They include him as a vampire because he's, spoiler alert, the son of Dracula.
What?
Or we can do Ranker.com, which thousands of people have voted for the best vampire animes of all time.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's do a guest choice. Dallas, which would you prefer to do?
Okay, so either top vampires in anime or vampire movies in anime? Is that the choice?
So it's the top from Crunchyroll, top 10 vampires of all time, written by one person on the Crunchyroll. They did a report. Or Ranker.com, which thousands of people have voted, and it's best vampire anime in general, movies and TV.
I'm a man of the people. Let's do that one.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
All right. So we're gonna go for the top 25 best vampire animes ranked by fans according to Ranker.com in 2025. Where do you think Vampire Hunter D, and they combine Vampire Hunter D and Bloodlust is the same? So,
okay.
Interesting.
but
I wouldn't make that decision.
Yeah.
All right, Dallas, what is your guess for where it is in the top 25?
Vampire
best anime of all time, movies and TV.
Movies and TV that are vampire based.
Yes.
Okay. 25, you said?
Yeah, top 25.
I'm going to go for 12.
12, okay. Let's see. I'm not seeing any rankings in Ashley guesses 10. Awesome. You know what? I'm gonna Price is Right $1 because the only other vampire anime I can think of, and obviously there's a ton, but is Blood, like The Last Vampire, which I think, Dallas, you love that movie, right?
That was a good one.
Oh, I thought you actually didn't like that movie. That's weird. I could have sworn when you did devotion on it or something, you said you didn't actually like it, but
nope.
Never mind. Apparently, I'm using my listening ears.
I was on the Cellcast talking about that. Claire,
that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
I think you might have been thinking of Jacob.
Everybody's been on the Cellcast but me talking about vampires.
We need to change that, man. We need to get you on there.
Well, he's been talking about cats on the Cellcast as opposed to vampires.
Oh, that's true.
Rushmore guesses 5. Well, glad you're here, Leslie. For me, I'm going to guess number 1. So, Paul, where did it actually end up in the top 25?
Well, according to
real
thousands of
quick.
votes.
Dallas, you said 12,
Ranker,
right?
I'm sorry, what?
12. I'm just double checking I got Dallas's down.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
According to Ranker.com, Vampire Hunter D comes in at 19.
What?
Ooh.
That's
fair.
People don't know what they're talking about.
It's TV and movies, though.
Yeah.
Francisco. It wasn't just
and
anime.
there's a lot of them.
Wait, it
just
wasn't
top of your head, you have, like,
anime?
Angel, you have Buffy the Vampire is probably in the top 5, I'd guess.
I thought it was only anime vampire movies and TV shows.
Yes.
Oh, anime only.
Yeah. So that's why I was thinking it's so high. But okay. Wow. Okay. So given that, I guess Dallas, you win because you're the closest with 12.
Oh, I forgot about Trinity Blood. Oh yeah.
What? Yeah. What is the top?
The number 1 is Seraph of the End. A lot of these I haven't heard of. Came out in 2015. Sir Vamp is number 2. Strike the Blood is number 3.
Okay. Well, whatever. This is I don't trust this list anymore.
Is Trinity Blood on any of these anywhere on that list?
Just closed it. Sorry.
Dang it. This is what I want to talk about now. I want to know. We need to critique today on Retro Rewind. We're going to be critiquing this list.
Yes.
And,
that's not what we do here.
Yeah, we're not reviewing.
That's not in the script. That isn't a script because we don't go by a script. But thank you for those factoids, Paul. Let us know about Trinity whenever you pull that up. But let's see if any of those factoids.
It was number 7.
Number 7.
Oh.
Factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice is located, our target film.
Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Those who know him call him D, a solitary hunter. He roams the vast wastelands between the light and the darkness. The year is 12,090 AD. It is a world where humanity is ruled by vampires. A world where love is stained with blood. Where hope is eclipsed by despair. When a young woman named Doris falls prey to the vampire's fangs, who will save her? Vampire Hunter D. His greatest battle is about to begin. This is it, the spectacular science fiction horror romance that started it all. Based on the works of Hideyuki Kikuchi, with character designs by Yoshitaka Amano, directed by Toyo Ashida. 3 legendary talents bring you the title that redefined anime forever. Vampire Hunter D.
Yes, Vampire Hunter D is apparently how we are going to do that trailer. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Sorry. Because
mode.
No, it looked like it was fine. Just the camera switcher wasn't switching to me, and I was like, "Oh no, is it broken?" But then it did, and so now then you hit Edna mode and went back to you. So I was just remembering that I need to do that. So that's all. Okay, so Edna mode. I did that switch. All right, so now end of Edna mode. After I get the chat over here real quick, let's see. Rushmore says, I thought it was just anime too. I had no idea there were many Yeah, I had no idea there were that many vampires in anime either, Rushmore. Okay. Here we go.
It's a popular genre.
Apparently. Okay. That commercial definitely brings back some memories about Vampire Hunter D. And it was interesting because I pulled that from an iconic events. Apparently, by the time you listen to this, in April of this year, 2025, there'll be a re-release of Vampire Hunter D in theaters in the United States.
It's the 40th anniversary this year.
40th anniversary, yeah. So, but that trailer certainly brought back some memories.
Is that why you chose this, Dallas? Because it's the 40th year, or just happened to? Is coincidental?
Just happened.
Nice.
That's amazing. But it'll be interesting to see if any of our personal memories fuse together to actually remember what happened in this film. So, in a dark post-apocalyptic world, a girl tries to get her horse back from what turns out to be a werewolf, which takes her across, allowing a vampire to drink her blood, while a mysterious traveling figure known only as D goes on the hunt to try and save her from becoming a vampire, and tells the girl's brother it's okay to cry if you want to be a baby. In a weakened state, D is wounded by a stake as the half-man, half-vampire must fight his own bloodlust to save the woman. Because the vampire is betrayed by his daughter, the hunter wins, barely, as the sun streams through a destroyed castle. Oh, and he is Dracula's son. Wow. I mean, a lot of that was absolutely true, but I don't think there was that he won just as the sun barely streamed through the castle. So I think all those memories were definitely decepted.
You said that wrong. Decepted.
Oh, decepted. That's a good point. Good point. But it'll be interesting to see if those. What are you doing, Francisco? Edna mode.
Edna mode.
Hey, Killer, how are you doing? Yeah, robot horses for the win. Exactly. Okay. Well, based on those memories, as flawed as they obviously were, what rating did they lead you to predict for this film before you rewatched it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with our guests. Dallas, what was your prediction for Vampire Hunter D?
All right. So, for context, I have not seen this in years.
Okay.
But you inspired me to rewatch this.
Oh, wow. Well, when was the first time you remember watching it? Also,
probably too young to be watching it.
Well,
No,
sure.
I was.
And when did he inspire you? How?
I was like 12
Okay.
or 11 when I first saw this. I
Yeah.
rented it from a little movie rental place in Willard, Missouri,
Mhm.
and I got this and Wizards, not Wizard, not the
the
video game
animated 70s Wizards.
Yeah, who was that? It was a famous animator who did it, but Wizards. I got that and this one together.
Wow. Okay.
And I watched them both, and so legitimately after watching this, I wanted to go and pull my copy of Wizards off and watch it because it just felt natural. But because of that, because I picked it up as a nostalgia buy years ago,
Mhm.
and you inspired me to do it because you've talked about it several times about how much you enjoyed it at
Mhm.
some point in time. And I was like, I have that, and I just haven't watched it in ages. I might have watched it when I was in college once. So I'm going with a hard nostalgia right now.
Okay. Very good. Paul, when did you first see this, and what was your prediction?
I don't remember. I saw it a while back ago. It may have been 25 years ago in college. I don't remember when I first saw it, and it's been a while since I saw it. And honestly, it's in the mid 80s from my memory. I'm thinking it's like TV quality animation. It's like, basic vampire story. No desire to ever really watch it again. So I predicted tragic. Leave it on the shelf.
All right. And for me, I remember liking it, but ever since seeing Bloodlust, I felt like Bloodlust was so much better in like every way. So I didn't have, I had a fondness for it, but it wasn't something where I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta get back and watch this again. So I also predicted nostalgic, sort of very middle of the road.
If I can ask a qualification question, for our rewatches, which versions did you guys watch?
I was just gonna ask that. Good
Thank
call.
Because mine is it's a special edition, but it's the OG cut with Goldar and Rita Repulsa still.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one I watched also.
You guys watched, I brought the audio clips because I you know what? I knew I typically watch the subtitle, but I knew I would be watching with people who were reviewing it with me, probably in the dub.
Yeah.
And I was also looking for sound effects that I could like put into the but I didn't really find any. But just for clarification, the 1992 version, I got a sample of the Count's daughter, and then there's there's a D in the middle, and then there's and then she's there again. So here's a sample of what they two listened to, because I didn't watch this version.
That's who you are. Truly the most noble member of our family.
I am not nobler than you or anyone else.
I know who you are, my lord, for I am a noble woman and a member of the House of Blee.
So I watched.
So that's the one me and Dallas watched. It sounds.
Yeah,
Okay.
I watched the English dub, but it's the Sentai that's the studio that did it into the 2015, where the girl is. I'm trying to find her accent. I don't think it's English, but D sounds straight up like Liam Neeson. Check this out.
Ancestor, shall I stay and die here with my father?
I'm a man, not your sacred ancestor.
I am a noble, and if our sacred ancestor says we must die, then it is my duty to obey.
So that's it's different. It's almost but not quite the same dialogue.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I can't figure out her accent, but that is Liam Neeson. No, it's not Liam Neeson. Really.
That's Liam Neeson. He's like, I don't know who you are. I will find you, and my hand will eat you.
That's John Gremlin.
I don't know why they
by
didn't
way,
get
who
the
does that.
voice actor from Bloodlust to do the D for this.
So all three. So there's the two that they have for D, and then Bloodlust all have different voice casting, like throughout the.
Because it's paid.
I'll be talking about that later, or an element of that. But
so I watched that one, the Liam Neeson version.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Awesome. And I didn't say, and probably the first time I saw this was when I was a teenager. I don't remember exactly, but awesome.
And what do
guys.
you predict?
nostalgic. I remember I said Bloodlust was so much better.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was so blown away by that statement. I didn't hear what you said after.
So it'll be interesting to see if these predictions come true. But first, let's get into the things we liked most about Vampire Hunter D. I'll spin up our
Best bits.
Our best bits. Dallas, kick us off with something you liked. Dang it. Something you liked about Vampire Hunter D.
Sorry, we just kicked Dallas off. No, wait, Dallas is going to kick us off.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Something that I liked about Vampire Hunter D is the character designs. The monsters were so varied and different and wild. To be fair, Japan has a wild selection of characters and lore to pull from of just nightmare fuel. To inspire.
I want to feel your believability next time, Francisco.
So Killer says the audio died, and this has been happening. I don't know why. OBS will stop the audio. At least I have the DAR is going.
Okay,
so
good.
we have that.
You know what? Just as we're on a break right now,
we
were on a break. I noticed, I don't know if it's Video Ninja.
Okay. Yeah.
But it seems to be like bottlenecking on my end. It keeps going like yellow to green, and I have like when I do a speed test, my MPPBS or whatever that is far higher than what Video Ninja does. So maybe it's
Video Ninja.
Maybe the audio's bottlenecking through there.
Yeah.
Do you guys have hardware acceleration on your Chrome?
I have no idea. It's a good question.
I'm using Brave, so I don't know. Let me see if I have.
I mean, Brave's basically Chromium.
Yeah. But I don't know where to go.
So check hardware acceleration. I ran into an issue with recording my podcast the other day. I had a slip in my audio, and I was using Zencaster. And
Use
the tech support
graphics acceleration check. I don't have hardware. That must be the same thing.
Use graphics acceleration when available.
I have that checked.
I have that checked also. Or are you saying to uncheck it, Dallas?
No, have it checked.
Okay.
I was told to make sure that is checked.
Yeah.
I had it unchecked because there are certain things that I needed to do for the Geek Devotions where I need it off.
Yeah,
get
that makes
materials
sense.
I need.
All right. Welcome to the slow and boring part of the podcast for everyone.
Wow.
Welcome to Retro Tech Support.
You know what? I just realized, I just noticed while I was looking at those tabs, I have some where if I have something minimized, it frees up, Brave will free up memory for it. And I had the Video Ninja minimized. So I wonder if there's something having to do with that. So I will leave it sort of more up.
How many tabs do you have open?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5. That's like a low bar for me with usually 20 tabs.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, where were we? Jeez Louise. So we're back.
You were about to agree with Dallas about how the characters help flesh out the world, but you were not very convincing.
You're like, yes, they were fascinating. My script is not written correctly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, back to it. Dallas, I completely agree with you. I loved the different creatures, from the big giant with the fireball hand to the witch that creates phantoms to the all the little creatures that look like slime monsters or bugs or fungus in the castle Just
What'd
so
you think
cool.
of those energy creatures that like ate the cattle, but when it was shot, it like turned to solid instead of like it's gas. I thought
that was interesting.
I don't know why it did that. It doesn't seem very smart. I'll say that much.
I thought it was interesting to have this like gas-like creature to like kill the animals, but then I thought it was kind of lame that you just fire laser at it and it turns to solid. I'm like,
I don't know. Maybe
its
something...
cloaking device went off or something.
Well, it could also be they have these are like energy weapons and it's like tuned to the atoms of this mist.
It kind of like it kind of like turns the gas into solids.
I get, like, I mean, I don't know. Sure, why
we
not?
Playing Francisco's Fabulous fan sub or
when they give enough leeway.
Wow. Okay, so I totally agree with you, Dallas.
Rewind.
That was one of my likes as well. Paul, what was something you liked?
Almost right off the bat. On the opening shot, well, it's not the opening shot. The opening shot with the Dark Crystal ripoff with the castle and the two moons.
Yes,
but after that, there was the girl was walking through the grass, and there was a lot of movement, and right away I could tell, whoa, this isn't TV animation like I remembered.
Right. Yeah.
So I was really impressed by a lot of the movements and the animation overall. I thought was good, far better than the TV animation at the time.
That's so strange, Paul, because I didn't jot it down, but that opening grass where it's like going like this, to simulate wind speed or something, I hate so much. I just hate it so much.
You hate the grass effect? Interesting.
Yeah, because it doesn't. If that. To me, that simulates that something's going fast, perpendicular to the camera, not through it. Otherwise, why am I seeing it this way instead of like this way?
Because these are people without computers doing this hand drawn.
They live in the real world. They can tell which way grass should be going.
Their budget was this much.
Thank you, Dallas. I was about to say they don't have the budget.
You said there was no word about the budget, so we don't know that. For all they know, they had millions.
I do know that the animation that when it was initially released, the review was that the animation falls between TV quality and movie quality.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for movie quality, they're just barely making out of TV.
I would say everything else was movie quality. Just the dumb grass. Okay. Anyway.
I'm going to remind you that the guy who worked on this also did Speed Racer.
Yeah.
That doesn't help because I don't really care for Speed
Racer. Speed Racer is definitely TV quality.
All right, let's go back to Dallas for some quality likes. What's another thing you like, Dallas?
I like the character of D himself and while he's a quiet the quality of him. Again, he was a quiet guy, but there was some complexity to him. I mean, he was the strong, I'm going to just, murder everything here. But he was also caring. The fact that he took time with the kid to go say, hey, look, it's okay for you to be sad and to cry, but you need to be strong for your sister in the season. And just, that whole scene right there. And then again, it showed it wasn't just a flat character. And that's some things like a lot of times these vampire movies and shows, the heroes, like they're super flat and they're always like, I'm just here to take out the villain. Well, he had complexity.
I mean, this was 2D. It is kind of flat.
Well, there's only 1D, Vampire D.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point, Dallas, for sure. Paul, did you find that there's a lot of dimensionality to D?
I did. I was impressed by that, but I'm gonna go a little more the other way and say I was impressed by another character, and that was the little brother Dan. I liked Dan. You can slap your forehead all you want, but most kids' younger brothers have a tendency to be annoying to me, and I'm sure Francisco will agree with this. But for some reason, the way they treated this character Dan, to me, I thought he was really cool. I liked when he was on the screen. I thought he plussed the film.
Okay.
I wonder if your enjoyment of him is dependent on the dub that you watch.
It might be.
That could be. Oh my gosh, I hated the dub.
His voice was irritating.
Oh, interesting.
You can't take my sister.
Oh no, it was not like that. I don't have a clip, but yeah, I'll look back. But I bet you're right.
Yeah.
Because again, the character himself was interesting. That what he said wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But the way that the lines were delivered, it was like whoever was. Of course, the 80s was a wild time for dubbing.
Yeah.
And they were just like. There's this one anime called Ghost Stories where they literally just made up crap.
Oh yes,
things.
It's notorious for that.
Because they're like, nobody's gonna watch this. And so the 80s were wild. And so, but when they came to children, they they're not gonna like, hey man, we need to borrow your 8-year-old to have him dub over a movie about violence. It was the 80s. I mean, they freaked out about Mortal Kombat back then.
Yeah.
Or Street
So
Fighter.
you're saying Laura Cody did not do a good job. I'm willing to bet Shannon Emmerich did.
Probably.
Okay, so so your next like was Dan, Paul. Is that accurate?
Correct.
All right, that's fair. My next like was actually, I thought the music was so cool in this. I really liked the dun 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 dun.
That,
and then the
speaking of
atmospheric
dubs,
pads were great too. When it was just like, whoa, it felt Ghostbustery, but more horrific than Ghostbusters. In a way.
So one of the downfalls of the dub that I watched is you could barely hear the music.
Really?
For some reason, they toned it way down.
Oh,
But
okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh.
And yeah, so
I don't know. You get music, you get Dan. I don't know. You have to choose.
What did you want?
Free Hugs is asking a good question, which we might as well address now. Yeah. Do you prefer subs in anime or dubs in anime? I personally used to be subs all the way, but I feel like dubs have come so far of late that it's just usually easier for me to just watch the dubs, and I'll watch dubs typically.
When it comes
about you
to
guys?
older anime, I'll lean more towards the subtitle.
Yeah.
Like you said, modern subtitling is so much better. About the only anime that I was like, no, dub is definitely better is Dragon Ball.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I agree with that.
But I mean, it's gotten a lot better today. But at the same time, I got to the point where it kind of depends on how tired I am. If I'm just zonked out, I'll put on a dub before I put on a sub.
Yeah.
Totally.
I prefer subbed as well. There are and it's rare exceptions that I watch the dub. Dragon Ball is one of them. And there's a couple that I prefer the dub because that's how I originally watched it 25 years plus ago.
Right.
So when I try to rewatch it in the Japanese, it just doesn't feel as good. So just for nostalgic reasons, I'll go back and watch the dub. But yeah, I prefer sub. But honestly, I'm not one of those like, oh, it's sub or death. Because there are some animes that is just chock full of dialogue that it's super difficult to like read it all, catch up.
Yeah.
And then I totally sympathize with people who are like, I can't read and watch at the same time and go back and forth. So if it's easier for you to enjoy it dubbed, then whatever way you enjoy it the most, go for it.
That's fair. Very fair.
Yeah. Free Hugs does bring up a great point. Sometimes the dubbing is like way overacted. And again, specifically 90s, 80s, absolutely. Modern ones, not so much in my opinion.
I don't find them
definitely
overdone these days. But all right, so that just leaves our classic makers for Vampire Hunter D. What did we love the most about this film? I'm going to start out because it's sort of some Dallas touched on. I really enjoyed, and I found this to be the case. I think I'm sensing a theme because this is also something that I enjoyed about Richard Kimball from The Fugitive last time we podcasted. But I really like characters like G, where they're able to.
I didn't kill my wife.
Where they're put in situations where they're unfamiliar, they're new situations, or they're unexpected, but they're still able to figure out how to deal with it, and they're able to problem solve. And you don't have to see this like we don't have to be explained. Oh, now they are figuring out that this phantom dog is actually something behind the wall, and now Dee is going to smash the wall to get to the witch that's casting. No, it's like you sort of see the wheels turning. Like, oh crap, I'm dealing with this thing that's biting my arm off. Okay, there's something around here that's causing it. Maybe it's triggering memories from things like he's dealt with like this before. That was a horrible sentence. Things like this he has dealt with before. So he's like, okay, smash this wall. Okay, let's go. And so just things like that, I really appreciate seeing Dee figure out these things and being a heroic character that's able to overcome these immense challenges. So I really enjoyed that about that. That was my favorite part about Vampire Hunter D. And that continues on into Bloodlust also. What was that?
Your favorite part was that he didn't kill his wife?
Were you listening to what I just said?
No, you got me lost at Fugitive. Like, how is this?
Because Richard Kimball also has to figure things out that he may not really, he's never been on the land before, but he's figuring out, okay, I need to know how to make a fake ID. I need to figure out how
know that
I can get information.
He hasn't figured this out before. He's an experienced hunter.
I very much doubt every single castle is exactly the same. So that's I'm inferring, but I take it that because if he knew that dog was, once he saw that dog, he'd be like, oh, there's a witch through this wall. I'll just smash the wall. No, he gets attacked by the dog. So obviously it's not the same each time. Oh, gosh. Dallas, what's your classic maker?
My classic maker, good golly, is the art design actually. As a whole. The art, I have an affinity for mid 70s through 90s anime. Just the evolution of it, the way it got refined and transformed. This reminds me a lot of some animes like Captain Harlock and what's the other one? Star Blazers or Space Battleship Yamato. Which are some classic animes. And I don't know, there's like, I love the art of it. It's beautiful. And like we said in the front end, this was not TV quality animation. Like there was work that was put in it. And anytime I see that, I have already a love because you could tell that there was passion that was put into it. I watched, my DVD has like a 10-minute like mini doc on how they created this. And it was a work of passion for these guys to put this together. And there was like, hey, you know, even the character design, they were worried about it because there was already like art of this and people had like ideas and like, we don't want to ruin
very
people's
Final
ideas
Fantasy-esque looking art of this.
Yes, exactly. And so
it's the same artist.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay, well that's
yeah.
Yeah. But he morphed it to more of a traditional anime style. And I don't know, I enjoy the art. Everything about it was beautiful. The way they illustrated, especially like the way they played with shadows and that opening scene where you meet Count. Count Lee.
He's like 3 stories tall.
Oh my gosh, he's just towering over Homegirl, right?
Yeah.
But the way they played with the shadows, and again, I'm watching on a digital copy of the original VHS, so they're dark, they're kind of grainy, but it works really well.
Yeah.
And like when the red's there, it pops, and when there's glimmers of light, it's beautiful. And I don't know, it just, the whole thing was just a beautiful piece of art to me.
Awesome. Well, then, what was the most awesome part to you, PaulJPirates.com?
What you guys said before was the creative characters. I just thought there was a lot of creativity, but going from the vast variety of characters, but also the story plot. You know, there was a twist, and you know, and let's talk about the hand. Like that's creative.
Yes.
Like they didn't go to the backstory; it just exists. You know?
Yeah.
And I thought the whole candle thing was a creative element, you know. I thought it was creative all throughout, and I thought they did a really good job with. It's not your run of the mill vampire story, which again, that's two things which I thought was true about this. I thought it was TV animation quality and just your basic run of the mill story, and it's not either. So both of those were great surprises to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was cool how much lore there just packed in that you sort of just assume like he has this belt that's able to repel things. He has this hand. Yeah, there's so much in here, which is so nice that it makes you ask more questions or want to go back to the source material or what have you. But they don't feel like they have to explain every single thing, which is really, really nice.
They somehow found this great balance of not being overwhelming or too confusing with too many details.
Yeah.
But enough to make you curious about, oh, that's interesting. What is the story behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, those are the things we loved most about Vampire Hunter D. But there's probably some things we didn't care for so much. So let's get into things we didn't like. Oh.
I need to find a sound effect that's like a putting on the brakes or something slowing down.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. You think I would have learned after podcasting for 300 something episodes to check my notes. But yeah, there was one more thing I liked, and that would be Geek Devotions. Woo-hoo. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional, their podcast Com Talk, and written articles all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com.
That's great, Francisco. Did we get to the end of the episode? Are we talking about each other now, or
no, we're not.
What part of the podcast are we in?
We're in the part where Francisco forgets one more thing he liked.
Oh, the likes. Okay. So what does Geek Devotions have to do with Vampire Hunter D?
Well, obviously,
from 1985?
Dallas is a pseudonym for D, because Dallas is actually the Vampire Hunter.
All right.
Now that my secret is out, Francisco, I have to kill you.
What? I'm not a vampire.
Vampire Hunter Malice Dora?
That's Darth Salad to you, sir.
Yes. Vampire Hunter Darth Salad. There we go.
All right, Paul. You caught me in my ruse. That says Geek Devotions has nothing to do with Vampire Hunter D, other than they're sort of in the geeky subculture space.
And they requested this review.
Exactly. But so how about some trivia about Vampire Hunter D? How would that sound?
Yeah.
Awesome. Time Up. The movie Time.
There is a callback which maybe one other person might recognize.
All right. So, did you all realize the character Count Magnus Lee is named as an homage to Christopher Lee, who played Dracula in a long series of Hammer horror films.
And Dooku.
And Count Dooku. That has nothing to do with vampires.
Sounds like Dookie, but anyway, go
Wow. With that in mind, what movie has your favorite vampire portrayal? Not necessarily your favorite vampire movie, but the movie that has your favorite vampire in it.
So is he a vampire as Saruman? Because he lives so long?
No, he's a wizard in that.
Okay, so that doesn't count.
No,
all right.
That does not count. But, Paul, what would you say?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is Count Chocula, but does that count?
Oh my God.
I mean, had commercials. I mean,
I'm thinking of Count.
I said
Count
what movie has your favorite vampire portrayal?
Okay.
You have to pick a movie.
Count Von Count from Sesame Street doesn't count either. But yes, he does count.
Oh my gosh.
I assure you, he does count. I'm sorry. This is for a movie?
A movie that has your favorite vampire.
Vampire portrayal. Why does Liam...
Paul, let me help you out here. Manhunter is the movie because Count Chocula was in that movie.
There you go. I've never seen the movie, but we'll go with that. Honestly, I wasn't thinking of movies, but I don't know. You know what's weird? I don't think there's a definitive one. I'll tell you one that
we have some great choices in chat, by the way, if you're wanting to look for possibilities.
Yeah, my ideal like Dracula comes close to the original Castlevania NES box cover art.
Ooh, okay.
Oh.
But there hasn't been a movie like that. But I think Bill Nye did a great job. I think it was in the
Underworld movies.
Yes, the Underworld movies. You didn't see a lot of him, but he had this kind of resonant power of like he was old, but you could tell he had power back in the day. So like what he sparks the imagination for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know where he got that power?
From pauljpowers.com?
No, I was going to say Davy Jones' Locker, but yeah, that's good too.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Dallas, how about you? Favorite vampire in a movie?
Well, it's not necessarily a vampire specific, although the Free Hugs has thrown out some great suggestions here as far as movies. I really like the way vampires as a whole were portrayed in the movie Perfect Creature, which was a movie that came out back in.
Sounds familiar.
I was looking at it's like 2006, and it starred Dougray Scott in it.
Yeah, as Silas.
As Silas. And I don't know, it was a different thing. It takes place in the 60s. Humans and vampires coexist together. And like there's this influenza outbreak that takes place, and like one vampire has lost his mind, and Silas, the main character, is sent out to try to stop it before everything just goes to crap and there's a all-out war between the vampires and humans. It was just a unique story that they told, and I thought it was different.
Very cool.
Let me guess, Francisco. Yours is Paul Rubens and Buffy the Vampire Hunter. No.
Headcanon accepted. Moving on. So our dislikes.
Oh, wow.
No, just do you have one?
So not particularly. So here's the thing. I do like the vampire portrayal in John Carpenter's Vampires. Of the vampire in that, but I like that movie more for James Woods as a vampire hunter. So that's not really the same question. I don't know if I have a great one. I guess I'll go with one of the ones Free Hugs throughout. Underworld, the Kate Beckinsale character is a cool vampire, so we'll go with that. All right. Well, there was your trivia.
Now that we've all had some trivial fun. Sorry.
It's scripted, we swear.
Yeah. Great trivia, Francisco.
Thanks, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, the Rad Rewinders, had about Vampire Hunter D.
Awesome. So Becky Smith from Redeemed Otaku says, one of the first anime I ever watched. It aired on a local television station on Friday night. I instantly knew I was watching something special. You all better rate it a classic.
Well, we'll see.
We will see.
So far, it may not be looking good. I don't know. We haven't got to the dislikes yet, so we'll see. Kevin Joshua Burnham says, Angel's Egg?
I still don't understand what that's referencing.
That also came out in 1985. It's an anime.
Oh, okay.
OVA.
Okay, cool. And Jeremy Shields says, I know I have a VHS tape, and I think I've digitized it to a DVD. I read the book years ago as well. Oh, cool. Sharpest memory I have, I was a teenager when I first saw it, after all, is being surprised by animated nudity. All right, that's fair. Very fair. Well, thank you all for sharing your memories, and let's get into the things we disliked about Vampire Hunter D. Alice, bring that up.
Worst woos.
By the way, Francisco, I hope when you go back and edit this that you take the clip from the trailer where it says D, and every time we say that, you replace it with the trailer one.
I'll see, Paul. I'll see. Okay. That's my first dislike. That Paul's giving me more work to do. But no, Paul, let's start with you. What's something you disliked about this film?
You said you didn't like the grass effect, which I thought was great. I thought there were some other effects that didn't really land as much or was too much. One of them was the wind. There were some shots where I thought they did it beautifully with the wind. Other shots, I thought there were way too many lines. And, they were experimenting back then.
Yeah. Right.
but some I thought were a little too much. They could have toned it down.
Mm-hmm.
Another one was at the end, after the vampire was defeated and his castle sinks into the ground.
Yeah, what was going on there?
Then there's like days
So
and nights
trippy.
keep going by, keep going and going, and I'm like,
like, are we going backwards in time? Or are we going forwards? I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, are they saying this much time passed between the next time we see him, or did this already happen?
I was confused, but I have a running theory on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's the lore that if you kill the master vampire, everyone that he bit dies also.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thought process is this is all the evil energy converging back on the castle as it sinks down because it's been living off of him for all these, because he's been around for like 100,000 years already.
Yeah.
That's the best I could think of it, but it was a weird trip. It felt like it was the 80s.
Yeah. I guess going off of that, I almost feel like as long as he has existed in that castle, that amount of time for that part of the castle spun back. That's why instead of the castle and desolation, it was beautiful mountains, because that time in that sort of section spun backwards or something. I don't know though.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That is interesting.
Well, it was confusing what was going on.
Yes,
we can agree.
agreed.
And that's
It was
the
most 80s moment ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I just watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. Let's do something like that. Confuse people.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's go to Dallas. What's something you didn't like or that you found confusing?
One of the things, some of the scene cuts and jumps were kind of weird. There'd be moments where all of a sudden Dee's just present, and you're like, "How did we get here?" It was like there were gaps in the story. Yeah, literally. Well, half of Batman, but anyways.
I'm Damien. D.
Wow.
Damien Dark? What? No. CW, you ruined it. Oh, there were so many references there for people to listen to.
Yeah.
Not for me.
No,
I'm very confused, but continue.
There were some cut scenes that just, the way it jumped from moment to moment at times, it was, I'm assuming there was a time gap or something, but it just felt off at times. And, and the action picks up and you're just kind of going with it, but just, I felt like the storytelling, there were some bridges that could have been made, and I get it. We talked about before, there were time constraints, there was a budget issue that they had running, but at the same time, I was like, give me something, to make this make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. In that same vein, and I'm going to sort of put two dislikes together, but going off that though.
That's what caused that movie to happen. Movie.
I don't know how, and I wasn't falling asleep. I wasn't watching at 2x speed.
Right.
But I don't know how Dan got to the castle. First off, it seems very far away. And
He went
he's
to
just
go rescue his sister.
But he's just there all of a sudden without.
Yes, the time jumps that Dallas.
That's
was
okay.
talking
That's one of those time jumps that just.
Yeah, it's just like
but
how
it's
did the kid
one
get
day.
there?
It's apparently one day because it's the red moon, and then it's the next day. So I don't know how he has the time to get over there, but okay. So coupled with that is, man, Dan was annoying. I did not like this character at all. I just get out of my movie, please.
Dan
I think
was not the man.
Like we were saying before, it may have something to do with the voice actor and just it being obviously a woman doing a young boy, but jeez, it was just not.
You may want to rephrase
that. A young woman voicing a boy.
Okay, good. This is a family-friendly podcast.
Oh my gosh!
She needed to take lessons from the lady that does Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
Oh,
that could work. Yeah. Nancy Cartwright, I think.
Yeah.
Was the name now. So that was my first dislike. Paul, let's go back to you.
Unlike Dallas, I was not a fan of the character design.
No.
Now, specifically, mostly.
I thought you were saying you like the
I like the characters.
Oh, okay.
But the character design, especially of D, most specifically of D, where he had this tiny head and these shoulders that go on for like 3 or 4 or 5 feet.
It was the 80s. There were shoulder pads.
And no,
it was the 12,000s. It wasn't the 80s.
This was the 80s.
Which is amazing because this is pre-Rob Liefeld, who was known for that kind of design. But they said they took the art from Yoshitaka Amano, who did the designs, like you said, for Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
His original characters of D and those did not have wide, broad shoulders and a tiny head and such. So why they went this for me, it was too unrealistic. It pulled me out, and it was hard for me to attach myself or to like root for. I'm like, oh, okay, is this like a cardboard cutout? Like,
so Paul, I'm in a similar. I'm adjacent to that, and for my next dislike, and that's in the character of Magnus Lee, just so tall. Just so ridiculously tall.
Well, he's like not human.
Villain.
Okay, that's fine, but it just seemed way. I don't know. There's something about that just seemed so ridiculous that he was as tall as he was, and I guess vampires are just super tall because D is also tall, but then why isn't Lamika tall at all? So it didn't make sense.
Boss fight levels tall.
Yeah, exactly. So.
He was, boss levels where, like in like Street Fighter or like the later ones where you jump like 3 stories. He's that tall.
Yeah. I mean, this is just one step under Attack on Titan tall. I mean, it's really, really unsettled.
Almost, yeah. He's a halfling.
So that just bothered me. It's not a huge gripe. It's just like, why? It's
Free Hugs called it out. Suspension of disbelief is hard when you have these kind of character designs.
Exactly. So that leaves Dallas before we get to one more, before we get to our tragic makers. What's something that just was something you didn't like that wasn't major for you, Dallas?
Yeah, for me it was the and we said it was cool in the fact that it gave you enough information to make you want to go deeper and to figure out more of the world. And it did. But it kind of irked me at times too, because there were moments I'm like, where is this coming from? What is this? Why are we here? Like, give me a sentence or two, explain. Like when he's like in the girl's house and he's looking at his sword. Again, it's been a year since I watched this. I forgot the hand existed.
You thought the sword was talking to him?
I thought the sword was talking.
I thought that too at first. Yes.
I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I played D&D and I had a whole talking sword at one point in time. This is the thing that happens in lore. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was the hand. I was like, no, it's the hand. And I remembered it all of a sudden. But like, there's just different things that I was like, I wish they had just said, like, drop a sentence or two about, hey, this is the world that we live in. This was taking place. Because there was such a blending. And I like normally a blending of old technology and new world type of stuff. And this, especially in post-apocalyptic stuff. But it added to the confusion of some of the aspects of the story. When you add in the weird time jumps, and then all this other stuff, it was like, I need just give me more. And I don't want to go read 55 books to understand more.
Committed, Dallas.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Dang.
All right. No, that's totally fair. That you wanted a little bit more than they were giving you. But by that token, you could say leave them wanting more is a good thing. So, no. All right. Well, then that leaves our tragic makers, the things we really didn't want more of in this film. I'm going to start off because mine is tied, unfortunately, to my classic maker. My classic maker again was how
it's the worst thing and the best thing.
How D was able to figure out these situations regardless of what was going on. He's able to come through. He's able to outsmart, outthink, brute. I don't know. Just what would be the physical one?
Out punch.
Outmaneuver.
Outmaneuver. Yeah. Just get out of the situations. Figure out a way to overcome the odds. However,
he's not MacGyver.
His voice in the 92 dub, which is what me and Dallas watched.
Yeah.
it just seems so out of character for this character.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I saw the other one.
Yeah, it's just I've Bloodlust. I feel like comes the closest to what I could see D sounding like. If I look at a character, know a little bit about him, oh yeah, that's what that person might sound like. It doesn't sound. This person sounds like they're, and they do other voice acting. It's not like this is their first rodeo or whatever. They've done lots of voice work from what I could see, but it sounded like someone that's doing like an '80s documentary type voice. So now we're going to do this. Yeah. And Dan, it's you. Your sister needs you to not cry right now because you need to show her strength. Visitors from the past should know where they came from or something. I forget.
Now, are you auditioning?
The majestic penguins glide across the ice.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I'm auditioning, Paul. Give me that role. But that was my tragic maker. Was the voice actor for the '92 dub of D. Let's go to Dallas. Fair. What's your tragic maker, Dallas?
So that's worse than Dan. Wow.
Yes. Because he's the main character. I want my main character to sound awesome.
Yeah.
D did not bother me, but mine is tied to the version that we watched. And that is that it was just so dark at times. And again, we talked about how I liked how they played with the shadows. But because of the transfer to the DVD, and again, we're not watching it on a CRT, so it doesn't have some of the benefits of that.
Right.
It was. I really wish I'd been able to watch what you watched, Paul. I feel like it would have been a better presentation as a whole. So that was kind of my tragic major, is that it wasn't the quality that it needed to be. I almost wish I had busted out a CRT and hooked up a DVD player. And maybe that would have rescued it a little bit. But it was
a little,
rough
but probably not much, because it is a VHS copy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's totally fair, Dallas. Sometimes I wonder, like, would it be better to watch these older movies on a CRT? But then I think, well, if they're released in theater, then really,
I was just about to say, Dallas, you could look forward to maybe possibly seeing it in the theater. Hopefully you have a better dub.
Do you think they're going to redub it?
I think it's probably the dub that Paul watched.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking they would do.
I know I read that they have what do they call it? Enhance it or whatever they do it. Remastered it, but it didn't say specifically of the dub. So hopefully they took the grains out and kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just visual.
Hopefully. But
maybe you can hear the music better.
Paul, what was your tragic maker for Vampire Hunter D?
Well, my
tragic maker
is very similar to Dallas in that it's personal, that it's just probably affects me mostly. And that is, I am not a fan of blood and gore, and there's a lot of that. We talked about a wide variety of characters. Well, a lot of those wide variety characters get a lot of wide variety of gore and blood and guts. It's for some reason I can handle Akira, which has a bunch, but this I don't know, for me it's a little.
It was a lot more moist.
Maybe, and I think more spread throughout the whole thing. So it just felt like there was more, but it may not be. So for me, that was the worst thing about this movie.
Okay,
that's fair. I was talking to a buddy of mine about it earlier. He's like, I didn't think that'd be your thing. Is like, I can handle in spurts, no pun intended, but I can handle it in bits and pieces. And this is kind of like on the edge of for me is for gore. Also, I was like, okay, if it had been much more than this, I would be like, all right, we're not. I would have called Francisco and tell him he's watching Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Because you want to destroy my spirit? Is that what it is? Wow. All right, guys. Well, now that we gave you our dislikes, and now that we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer, I'll ask you a firing solution for us.
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo armed and ready to fire on your mark.
Whoa, what happened to the salvo authority?
It hasn't been there for a while now, since episode 300, Paul.
Really?
Yes! Oh my God.
It's been incepted.
Wow, we need to raise our salvo authority and get it back with
No
authority.
salvo. It was never salvo authority. It was
Always.
salvo at the ready.
Yeah, you say that, but everyone else knows otherwise.
Oh my gosh.
You can call a green wall blue all you want. It doesn't make it blue.
Look, if I have to create a whole character because I misspoke something, you've got to go with salvo authority.
Yeah.
No, I don't, because I'm the captain. All right, so now it's time for the moment of truth. We're not talking about salvos and authorities. We're talking about Vampire Hunter D. Do we rate it a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see this, whether or not you've seen it before. How dare you guys in chat with your salvo authority justice? Do we rate Vampire D a classic? We'd recommend anyone go and see this, whether or not they've seen it before. Do we rate it a nostalgic? It's worth your time to watch it, to rewatch it. If you saw it as a kid or young adult, yeah, definitely go watch it again. You'll have fun. It'll be a fun rewatch. But if you've never seen it before, don't take the time to watch this. Or do we rate it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. So we will start with our guest, Dallas. You had predicted nostalgic. Where did it end up for you?
Gosh. All right. So legitimately, I was struggling with this one.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn. And I'm trying to frame this in your world, not the other podcasts I do.
It's bomb shelf. You're saying this is bomb shelf? Wow.
It is not bottom shelf.
This is dumpster fire? Come on, Dallas. Be generous.
Top shelf?
No, it's like for if we were doing the bottom shelf podcast, it would be a high middle shelf. Because I really
that's right on the line between nostalgic and classic. I can see why you're
exactly. So you
struggling.
see where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I would put this in the classic selection. It is a classic anime. It's one of those ones that if you are a person who's really into anime, I would say this is one. If you're okay with certain things, pick it up, watch it, and enjoy it, because it has it created a lot of stuff. Like moving forward, it's an influence in anime culture. And again, I think it's beautiful. I think it legitimately is beautiful. Now, again, this is not a kid show. This is not. There are things you got to be okay with watching.
But it's anime. It must be for kids.
I was going to say, Dan says otherwise.
So I'm standalone. I'm going to put it as a classic. I'm not going to say it's a nostalgic. I may change that after I watch Bloodlust later.
Oh, no, but like you said, standalone.
Yeah, standalone. I think it's a classic. It sits just where it's at, just for all where it stands in history of anime and the influence of it. And like we said, like as much as I complained about not knowing what the heck was going on, I kind of want to figure out what's going on in this.
Yeah. There you go, Becky. We're on the road to classic.
So
I'm saying is if you guys bomb this out, I'm not going to die. Becky's coming for you guys.
So Dallas Ray's went from nostalgic to classic. Awesome. Now, before we get to me and Paul's reign, we go to you, our reflex capacitors, you guys that support the podcast financially, which you can do at firejoystudios.com. And we had unfortunately a tie over there for ratings. So between classic and nostalgic, one classic, one nostalgic. So I'm going to average those to nostalgic, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your opinion. So according to the reflex capacitors, and if we had one more classic or one more nostalgic, it'd be that. But
no,
it is a nostalgic according to our reflex capacitor. So we have one classic, one nostalgic. Paul, you had predicted this as a tragic, so I'm very curious to see if it stayed there, if it went up, or I guess it wouldn't go down. But
I thought this was going to be
slow and boring.
So if you're doing the Retro Rewind podcast bingo, you can mark that off.
Oh my gosh.
But it wasn't. I was intrigued. But the negatives are also there as well. But I will say, if you enjoyed it before, I think you'll enjoy it again. if you've never seen this, I would take a pass on it, honestly. So I'm gonna put it right there in the nostalgic.
Nostalgic. Okay. All right. Then that leaves me. Making people in chat upset. Bring them upset. For me, I predicted nostalgic, and unfortunately, I can't live in this world where Dallas is able to separate movies from one another. I'll say this: if Vampire Hunter D was the only one I had, it would probably be a classic. But
there you go.
When I know how good it can be,
no. So the tragic maker for Vampire Hunter D is Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
That's it.
Yeah,
Princess got all bougie. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If they,
I'm from the future. The effects are better.
I can't get over Dan, and I can't get over the voice of D. There's so much good about this, though. Here's what it is. If we had like 10 more minutes for me to really just steep,
or
in
if you had an hour and a half to watch the other dub version,
that's also a thing. If I maybe watch the subs of this or the other dub, I may come away with a with a classic, but. Unfortunately, I didn't watch that, and that's not the one I watched growing up, and most people would have watched the 92 dub growing up.
The 1992 version is what you are...
Exactly.
Okay.
So the 1992 version is nostalgic. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Vampire Hunter D, the 1985, and ostensibly the English dubs version, a disputed nostalgic film. And we'd recommend, if you've seen it before, definitely watch it. What the junk are you doing to me right
now? Oh, you can hear the music, unlike the dub that I watched. Okay. I was trying to give you some background.
Wow. Go watch it again, but if you've never seen it before, I highly recommend Bloodlust. I think I do think that's a better movie. But yes, justice for Vampire D. Really?
And Salvo.
And Salvo Authority. Jeez Louise. Okay.
If you had Salvo Authority, it would have been classic.
There you go.
Gosh. Now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX?
End the mode because I hit the wrong button. 20XX.
20XX?
Sat online. Awaiting incoming transmissions.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1985 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions. Oh, you're right here. Woo! Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, That's Our Babo, D. Tungsten, Mr. Lost, Daryl Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Dustin, He's a Big Deal Warford, Flux, Redeemed Otaku, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/subscribe to start.
Welcome, and do not worry, I will not harm you. I see you have your silver crucifix, some garlic, a wooden stake, but most of all, being sponsored by PowerJPowers.com.
Wow. I think we lost Dallas on that one.
I was waiting for Michael Jackson to pop out for a second.
Dun, dun. Say, Francisco,
yes,
we're very thankful for all our thrilling supporters, especially Dallas, who came on to
pick this movie and who came on to it.
Yeah. Sorry we did you dirty there, Dallas, with the final rating. But for people who don't support financially, is there other ways for them to support as well?
Actually, yeah, Paul. So you listening probably enjoyed this episode if you made it this far. So if you aren't driving, tap the share icon in your podcast player for this episode and send it to a friend saying, I know you like Vampire Hunter D, so I thought you'd like this podcast on it. And it's as simple as that.
And I bet they'll thank you for it.
Well, yeah, why wouldn't they?
Well, because they'll actually listen to this and might disagree and wonder what happened to the Salvo Authority. But hey, Dallas, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your thoughts. How can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on that they should know about?
Yeah, you can find us at geekdevotions.com, and from there you'll find everything else we do. Most of our stuff is on YouTube at Geek Devotions YouTube channel. But outside of that, we have several podcasts. We have The Bottom Shelf, where we review movies, and we rate them as not classic, as top shelf, middle shelf, or bottom shelf. And then there's some things that we list off as dumpster fire, which should be removed from all cinematic history. And to our knowledge, nothing's ever made it in there. No movies about Avatar ever were made. And we also have a podcast called The Gundam Watch, where we review Mobile Suit Gundam, and then we have another podcast called We Read Allegedly.
Hey,
where
that sounds like an 80s anime.
Yeah, well, there's 80s anime in it in the franchise.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
it's so good. So, but yeah, we do all those things. But you can find us on social media. Just look for Geek Devotions. We try really hard to make things easy to find.
Awesome.
Cool. And if you want to see more Francisco, go to my channel, hit the shout out, because he's on it every single time.
Oh, that's cool.
You mean like when you shout out Geek Devotions, I tend to come up on it?
Yeah, because you took over. Yeah, and people clipped it.
It's like, let's go shout Geek Devotions. There's Francisco.
Yeah.
You invited me on. What do you want from me? All right. Thank you so much, Dallas, for being on the show. Thank you to my awesome friend, Paul. And apparently he's one way to keep vampires away, which is awesome. And appreciate all your rewinders, new and old, for another fun voyage. We also want to thank Alutrick for enhancing our music. Find him at alutrick.bandcamp.com or youtube.com/@Alutrick. That's spelled ALLOOUTRICK, then the number 8266 for the YouTube. So thank you so much to him.
And speaking of websites, you can find me, pauljpowers.com, and all my social media links at pauljpowers.com.
No, all right. I don't know why we're talking like Jerry Seinfeld.
Hello.
La la la.
Come to pauljpowers.com. La la la.
And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. You can join us there via retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
As D just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, geekery, and a whole bunch of created characters that explode in blood and guts, maybe at culturebox.media.
Thank you, EXO, and thank you for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for our. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you for our next movie, which I actually.
It's the Kung Fu Kid.
Is it? Okay, thank you. I'll redo that then. Thank you, EXO, and thank you for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you for the Karate Kid, our next adventure on Retro Rewind Podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to base to await next mission.
What a wonderful night this has been. For the first time in 100 years, I haven't been bored once the entire evening.
And there we go. You're not going to get Salvo Authority back, guys. I took it out for a reason so it would not cause confusion. And because it wasn't there to begin with.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Oh my gosh. All right, but thank you all for thank you for your hugs, Bobo, Ashley, Star Fox, Geek Devotions. For you're adding to a Geek Devotions, for hanging out. We're going to be ending the stream and going to our spiritual speculation section. Dallas, you want to give us a preview for what your question was going to be for that?
Yeah,
Oh,
my
Rosie
question.
also?
My question is, I pointed out the fact that there are 55 novels to this, and this movie was based off the first, and it inspired people to go deeper. And so my question is, where do you encourage people to start to go deeper in their faith?
Ooh, okay. That's really good. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, have a great night. Free hugs. And Bobo and Rosie, Star Fox, Ashley, thank you guys all for being here.
Bye, guys.
And we'll go ahead and give you our stream face. But I'll end in prayer, then we'll do stream face. Lord God, thank you so much for this evening. Thank you for everyone who is here. Please protect and provide for us all, and may we experience your beauty, grace, truth, and love in a fresh new way. I pray all this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, who left all majesty to come down into our depravity, lived the life he went, taught us how we could, conquered sin, overcame death, being raised to you, the Father, making a way for us all to have a right relationship with you where there wasn't a way before. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Right.
Here's your stream face.
Justice for Salvo Authority.